Hello, welcome back. My name is Astrid and today I'm going to give you 8 tips on how to improve your web design.
Tip number 1, content. My first tip for you is not really about design, but I believe it's the first step for a successful website. As a general rule, never start working on a website until you have content. As you have probably heard before, content is king. Having the website content will allow you to plan and structure the pages in a way that makes sense and to set the tone for the site. You will know exactly what you're working with and the type of sections that you will need. Also, having a sitemap will give you and the client a good idea of how the website as a whole will be structured. Tip number 2, design before development. It might be tempting to jump straight into WordPress and start building your site. But in my experience, creating the layout and assets for all of the pages is a far more efficient way of doing things. Don't skip this step and you will see in the end, it's a good investment of your time. Also, as the designer, you may have a good idea of what the website will look like in your mind, but what you think will look right doesn't necessarily happen in reality. It's a lot easier to change and edit different sections on Figma or XD than trying to do the same directly on WordPress. Tip number 3, color. The colors you choose for the website will depend on yours or your client's brand. But as a general rule, don't go overboard with the use of colors. If you're struggling to select a color palette, look for inspiration on existing websites. You can also use Adobe Color and play with the color wheel and the different harmony rules. Make sure that the colors complement each other and think about how you can use each one. You may want to choose one as an accent color and create rules of colors usage for different elements and sections, and this way you can keep your design consistent. Tip number 4, fonts. Font selection can make or break your website design. In most cases, using 2 or 3 different fonts will be more than enough. The font selection will also depend on the type of website that you are designing, so always choose fonts that go well with the personality of the business or service. Knowing how to pair your fonts successfully is a skill that takes time. So if you're using something like Google Fonts, you can go to the pairing section and get an idea of the fonts that look good together. If you want to go one step further, you can purchase fonts and give your site a super unique look as well. I use Fontshrink.com and Adobe Fonts for most of my projects, but there are so many other websites where you will find awesome looking fonts as well. Tip number 5, hierarchy. Hierarchy has a lot to do with fonts as well. Making rules of font sizes, styles, and weights will allow you to keep your design consistent. In fact, this is one of the first things I do when designing a new site. This way, I know exactly what styles to use and I can avoid inconsistencies. You can create different styles within Figma or XD and apply them to your text. This will save you lots of time. Having text that is clearly different from other text will give people a visual cue on what they should read first and will automatically direct their eyes to the most important pieces of information. Tip number 6, navigation. Designing an easy-to-use navigation is another one of those things that can make or break your site. This is where the sitemap comes in handy. From a visual perspective, make sure that you communicate clearly to the user where on the website they're at. Especially with large sites, things can get a little confusing. Creating an active class for menu items to highlight the page you're currently visiting is one of the easiest but most helpful things you can do. Tip number 7, keep it simple. You may be tempted to add a lot of different animations and all kinds of effects, but is that really what your website needs? Don't forget that every website should have a specific goal, which should be what you want people to do on it. You can direct them towards that with a good structure and content. Don't overwhelm people and don't think that simple means boring. You can always have fun with your designs, but remember, in web design, less is more. And finally, tip number 8, images. The images you choose will play an important role in the look and feel of your site. Get creative with them and try not to use generic pictures. If you can, hire someone to take some quality pictures for you or take them yourself. You can edit them and add effects so they complement the color palette of your design. If taking the pictures yourself is not an option, Unsplash.com offers a good variety of images. and they're completely free. But don't forget to thank the photographer. Your website will look amazing if you apply some of these tips.
Alright, so those are only 8 tips on how to improve your website design, but there are so many other things that you could do. A lot of these skills will come with time and more experience. If you have any other things that you would like to share, please leave them in the comment section and we can build a community and learn from each other. Also, if you like this type of content and you would like me to continue on making videos like this, please hit that subscribe button and I will see you on the next one.